Captain's log. If you value true sea stories and strange encounters, consider subscribing and step aboard the Phantom Tide. Some moments divide a life into before and after. At the time, you may not understand what is happening. Only later do you realize how close you came to never returning at all. The truck surged forward into the night. The engine roared louder than it needed to. Too much throttle. Too much confidence, not enough control. I remember the feeling clearly. Speed without purpose. Power without judgment. Roland pressed harder on the accelerator, as though the darkness ahead were something to conquer. The road climbed higher above the town. Street lights became fewer. Houses grew scattered. Shadows deepened between the trees. No one in the truck was speaking calmly anymore. There was tension, movement, voices raised over the sound of the engine. I watched the road. I watched the driver. I watched the speed. Every instinct I had developed through years of driving told me the same thing. This was no longer safe. But I had already made my decision. I had obeyed the voice. I had placed myself in the hands of the Creator. The truck accelerated toward a fork in the road, left or right. Either direction would have been safe, but straight ahead. There was no road, only darkness. Roland did not slow down. At the last moment he attempted to turn. Too late. The truck left the road at speed. There is a strange silence that happens when a vehicle leaves the ground. The sound of the tires disappears. The engine becomes distant. Weight shifts in a way the body immediately recognizes as wrong. We were airborne. Time seemed to change pace. Moments stretch when danger becomes unavoidable. I remember seeing the trees rushing upward toward us. I remember thinking, so this is how it ends. The truck struck the trees. Metal collided with wood. Branches snapped violently around us. The vehicle rolled once, then again, then a third time. 3 rotations before coming to rest. The number 3, a pattern I have come to recognize often in life. 3 impacts, 3 violent turns, 3 chances for everything to end. But the truck did not continue falling. It did not tumble endlessly into the darkness below. Instead, it stopped, suspended, cradled, held. The vehicle had become lodged in the branches of a massive cedar tree, growing from the face of the cliff. A giant of the forest, ancient, immovable. Its limbs caught the truck like arms catching something fragile. Below us, nothing but darkness and a steep drop. The truck rested upright, balanced in a way that seemed almost impossible. For a moment, no one moved. No one spoke. The smell of earth filled the air, broken branches, cold night wind, and then the smell of gasoline. Then smoke. I looked downward and could see the underside of the truck beginning to burn. Fire! Fire after the fall. Fire after 3 rolls. I reached for the door handle, unlocked it. The moment the latch released, the door flew open with force. Gravity immediately took hold. I fell from the cab, 15, perhaps 20 feet. There was no time to prepare, no time to catch balance, no time to plan. I struck the ground below, but where I landed was not rock, not jagged cliff, not broken timber. It was soft earth, deep soil. My hands plunged into the dirt up to my elbows. My knees sank into the ground. The earth itself seemed to receive the fall. to cushion it, to absorb the impact. Without that earth, the landing would have been catastrophic. Bone breaks, head trauma, unconsciousness, or worse. Instead, I remained awake, alive, able to move. I turned back toward the truck and shouted, "The truck is on fire!" What happened next occurred quickly. Andy Big Jr. jumped from the truck above. He fell directly toward me. He was a very large man, 300 pounds or more. When he landed, the impact drove me deeper into the soil. The weight forced the air from my lungs. The earth gave way beneath us both. Again, the ground absorbed the force. Without that soft earth, the outcome would have likely have been fatal. Andy quickly realized I was trapped beneath him in the dirt. He reached down, grabbed my shirt between the shoulder blades, and lifted me upward with one motion, strong and controlled. He held me upright until I could regain footing. I managed to speak. "Put me down." As I choked up the earth, he did. I told him, "Move away from the truck, others may still fall." Moments later, Donnie and Roland emerged from above, all of us shaken, disoriented but alive. The truck remained lodged in a cedar tree, fire growing beneath it, the cliff dropping away below. The night suddenly very quiet again. We moved downhill together, away from the wreck. Eventually we located a payphone. In those days, payphones could still be found along the roadside. We contacted a taxi. When the cab arrived, we entered quickly. We wanted distance from the scene, distance from the questions that would follow. As the taxi began to move, police vehicles appeared. German Shepherd dogs surrounded the cab. Within moments, officers had us outside the vehicle. We were taken into custody, held overnight, questioned repeatedly. Eventually, the truth of the driver's identity became known. By morning, we were released. I checked the time. It was close to 8 o'clock. I took another cab, returned to the vessel, and arrived just before 8:30, exactly as instructed. My body bore the effects of the fall, pain in the neck, pain in the back, bruises from striking the interior of the cab, but I was alive. All of us were alive. The truck had rolled 3 times. It had come to rest upright, held by a cedar tree, above a bed of earth soft enough to receive the fall. In the days that followed, I would reflect often on the voice that told me to return to that truck. Had I refused, would Donnie have survived? Had the door not been locked? Would we have been thrown from the cab during the rolls? Had the cedar tree not stood where it did? Would the truck have continued downward? Had the earth not been soft, would the fall have ended differently? There are moments in life when survival feels less like chance and more like guidance. If you have ever walked away from something you cannot fully explain, consider subscribing and share your experience below. We read every message that finds its way aboard. Some survive by skill, some survive by preparation, and sometimes we survive because something greater has decided our journey is not yet complete. To tilt and wait, to fall and shout, Captain Jordan and his crew goes over and